This is The Antidote with Dave Hawkins, where Christian music doesn't suck. I'm Dave Hawkins, and you found The Antidote. You know, I had a great and relaxing time last week when my wife and I headed down east to enjoy some vacation time. But the cool days and cold nights in Nova Scotia didn't really make for comfortable camping. But I guess I really shouldn't complain because tonight's band is a lot further east than where we were, and their weather is way, way hotter. You'll find out about where and why as we have three of the band members, Ojo, Shawn, and Rueban, in for a talk about their music, motivation, faith, and culture as the band Rueban comes to The Antidote with their unique blend of punk and hardcore. But that begins after a song from Rueban's solo 2013 release, Indestructible. Here comes Switch.
We've been afraid. God.
Rueban, Ojo, and Shawn of the band Rueban are here for a talk with The Antidote. Good to have you guys with us.
Great to have you, Dave.
Hi Dave, how are you?
Well, hello, Dave. How are you doing?
Just great, guys. Man, we are a long way from each other. Right now, this is lunchtime, but for the three of you, it's bedtime. Am I keeping you guys up too late for a talk?
No, not really. It's it is kind of late, but I wouldn't say that it's too late for us. I mean, right now it's 10:40 over here, so at least for me, I stay up till 11. I don't know about the other guys. Bedtime, I don't know what their timings are.
I've got used to this timing because, I work in the night shift. It's, nothing new for me. I stay awake all night. And so I'm pretty fine with this.
Whenever I have international guests on The Antidote, I'm always interested in hearing about where they live. What can you tell us about Hyderabad?
Well, Hyderabad actually is a city. It's one of the metropolitan cities in India, and it's part of a state actually now called Telangana. We have multiple states here that make up India. So we are a pretty overpopulated city. We have around 4 million people living here. But it's all right. I mean, there are good opportunities here, especially for, people like us, in terms of working. Living standards are not too bad. And it's one of the good cities, actually, I would say, in India. There are some cities where it's a bit tough. Shawn and I are pretty much from Hyderabad. I mean, we have been, born and brought up here. So, yeah.
So the only difficult part is the temperature. You were telling me earlier that it was 40 degrees there.
Yeah, it does get really hot actually over here because we are basically a dry state. We are like landlocked completely. We don't have sea around us. So mostly the heat that's over here is dry heat, with minimal humidity.
Mm-hmm.
So, temperatures during summer, that's like for around 3 months, you experience like around 40 degrees. Peak temperatures are like 45. So yeah, it does become kind of tough going out, especially in the afternoons. It's like the temperature really rises up during that point. But I guess, we are used to it now. It's not uncommon for us to, experience this kind of heat.
Well, something interesting about Rueban is that, the majority of Indians are Hindu. With you guys being Christians and having a Christian band, has that ever made you feel like you're an outcast?
No, not really, actually. We don't take I would say, an extremist approach towards music. And I mean, we are in a country that actually has several religions, and there's no sort of discrimination or between cultures. I mean, the majority is Hindus, but there's no problems between Hindus and Christians living here. I mean, we don't have any issues regarding that. So as long as we don't take a very extremist approach, which some people are there that do that. It's just a matter of just getting a message across. But it's very comfortable here. I mean, we have managed to all live in harmony without having any sort of problems.
Another song from the solo days of Rueban. This is Rhea. The lyrics of Rueban are very Christ-centered, but they
Yep.
make it sound as if your faith has been perfect. Like, has being a Christian always been an easy thing?
In my case, see, I like in my scenario, there's no particular testimony where I could say that there was a point of time where I was down, and then when at some point I got saved. So it was never a point like that for me because I was blessed by being born and raised in a Christian family. I was very happy, being raised by my parents and how I was raised. And even people around me, whether there was any sort of negativity, it never got to me. And I would say my life so far has been perfect, thanks to God. There have been ups and downs, but I don't take it as being a major struggle. It's just about having a positive mind, and everything becomes trivial. Then all sort of negativity becomes trivial. So that's my perception. Shawn and Ojo can speak for themselves as to how their life is.
Yeah, go ahead, Ojo. Tell me about yourself.
I was born in a evangelical family. My father is a missionary from Africa to India. So my take on Christianity is very different to how Ruben sees Christ. And also I've come from a different city. So I have seen certain differences in how people relate to God, and particularly through music. The kind of music we play is not necessarily widely accepted amongst Christians, first of all. Even though non-Christians are more receptive towards it. But all in all, it's good. Being a Christian does mean that you will rub some people the wrong way. Works out in the end.
And what about you, Shawn?
Yeah, Dave. I was born and brought up in a very spiritual family. And my dad is he goes regularly to the church and has his regular prayers and all that. But I'm like not too much into that. I just a simple guy. I just pray not like on a larger scale and all that. I just go to church pray and then come back home, and then if there's anything if I want to share to people I just in simple words, not much quoting verses from the Bible or anything of that. So just pretty simple guy. That's it.
I'll make my sacrifice as I cross the line. Put my faith in God, and as I make the switch, I feel so alive. As I get on the hate, I can't feel the rush. No one can stop me now. I made my sacrifice. Taking tongues, I'll spread the message. I feel the spirit, I'm burning out in flames. By the word of God, also great. I took it step by step to purify myself as I find my calling towards my God. No one can stop me now. I'll make my sacrifice. Taking tongues, I'll spread the message. I feel the spirit, I'm burning out in flames. Speaking tongues, I'll spread the message. I feel the spirit, I'm burning out in flames. One with God, I'll spread the word. I feel the spirit, I'm burning out in flames.
So the three of you really all come from a solid long-term Christian background. How important is it to have that Christian content in the music of Rueban?
I pretty much take care of all the lyrics in terms of the music. So on that aspect, for me, musically, the most important criteria for me was always to push a positive message across. So my way of actually understanding positivity, was from the Bible, pretty much from the New Testament. If whatever teachings of Christ were there was always positive, there was nuggets of gold advice that was there that could be used, and in a way if we do utilize them, that actually helps in self empowerment, and I believe that completely. And that's one of the few ways I had kind of like figured out of applying this lyrics, because even hardcore music kind of follows that same positive message. There's always that positivity, and there's that whole thing of what we call in a hardcore positive mental attitude. So that's something that even I could pick up from the Bible. I could relate to it. It was accessible, and it meant a lot to me. So that's why we stick to it. We do stick to taking the essence of what is there in the Bible and putting it in our music.
How many bands do you think regularly do that, create a positive mental attitude in their music?
See, for me, all of us have different influences. I mean, Shawn and Ojo completely have, their musical influences are way different from mine, but we kind of get together. But for me, I've always related to hardcore, and I can just pick out earlier bands, even though they are non-Christian bands. I could say, Bad Brains basically came up with the whole concept of PMA, positive mental attitude. They kind of pushed that, which was a huge influence for me. Minor Threat with their, song Straight Edge, and Straight Edge as well was a huge influence, which I kind of applied that to my earlier albums as well. And most of the bands like Hatebreed, they talk about self-empowerment. Christian bands, I would say Living Sacrifice is a huge influence on me. Their message is always deep rooted in the scripture, and their lyrics are very positive. Even though the titles of the songs don't realistically look very positive, but when you dig deep down into the lyrics, there is a deep rooted positive message out there. So, I mean, in terms of the vast majority of bands, I would say that the number of Christian bands I listen to are much lesser, because I already find that positivity coming from a few secular bands that I do like. So that's where I draw my inspiration from, and my influences come from there.
Here's Faith from Rueban. Well, let's hear from Shawn. You were saying that you guys have divergent tastes in music. So, Shawn, what about you? What really grabs your attention?
Oh yeah, sure, Dave. There are like pretty, few bands which I do really like. I mean, since I've been from the heavy side of music. I listen to a lot of heavy music. So I've been inspired by Skillet and Switchfoot, and then we even have this band called Red. And then there's another band which really draws my attention. There's a band called Cutlass. So it's really a brilliant band. You should listen to them. Pretty straightforward, and I like the heavy element in their music. So that's again it then attracts me to that part, the musical part, and then later on checking out what exactly they mean by the songs and all that. So
I think you're messing with me, Shawn, because those guys aren't that heavy. I thought you were going to say you were getting into extreme metal or death metal or something like that.
No.
Yeah, you caught him, Dave. Actually, he plays for a death metal band, on the side. He's hiding that. You can catch him now on that.
Oh, man.
Okay, Ojo, it's your turn now. Who do you like?
Okay. I started out, all the Guitar Hero bands. I started with Metallica and Guns N' Roses. So
The classics.
So then went to Megadeth. Then you have Dream Theater on one side. But coming with a positive message, I really like bands with such as Creed and Alter Bridge, or basically bands which have Mark Tremonti on. I think is fantastic. And also on the other side, you have Coldplay and the Foo Fighters. So I think I have the widest spectrum of musical influences in the band.
It sounds like it.
It leads to a lot of interesting discussions during the jamming sessions. But yeah,
Oh, come on. Are these discussions or are these arguments?
they shall stay discussions on this interview.
So discussions, and then it leads to arguments.
So Ojo is our resident Tremonti fanboy. That's what we call him.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's okay, I'm proud.
Well, we're going to switch back and forth between songs from Rueban's original album, Indestructible, and their new release, Stronger Than Ever. Here's one of those great new tracks, Strength Through Perseverance.
Driving me insane. With
should really get into talking about Indestructible.
Um, the concept of Indestructible was set aside for another Christian band that I used to play for, a metalcore band called In Heaven's Eyes. And we had released an album called Salvation. So after we released Salvation, what had happened was the band members kind of went away, some of them got jobs in different countries and things like that. So we kind of disconnected, but we tried to make it happen, like record another album. And during that point, I had come up with this idea of actually coming up with more of a concept-based album, which was Indestructible. It was supposed to be more metalcore oriented, and that's when I decided to still take the elements of Indestructible and incorporate it as my first solo album, because I had done all the lyrical composition. So Indestructible basically is a showcase on how a non-believer becomes a believer. There are 8 songs on the track, and it begins with a song called Split Frame. And Split Frame basically talks about a person who questions the presence of God, questions faith, questions himself, it kind of opens up where a person is actually going through a lot of struggle, but he still is extremely skeptical about whether God would, help him out or do something for him, but as the song progresses and as the lyrics progress, it kind of develops into a point where there is a budding faith that's actually rising in the individual. And that then goes on to the next song called Faith, then Switch. So it kind of just builds up, So, there's a passage in the Bible that I kind of find it's basically a teaching of Christ where, all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed, And based on that single line, I have kind of made the whole album Indestructible. You need just faith the size of a mustard seed to, make you indestructible. You're indestructible. No evil can corrupt you. That's what the whole album is. And towards the end, it kind of goes down to this song basically where we're giving thanks to God and all those people, who have given you the love through your life, and that's how it goes. So that's what Indestructible was about. It kind of starts with a non-believer becoming a believer.
Hey everybody, this is Ruben.
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 Ruben, and he found the antidote.
You heard the title track from Indestructible and from the same album, Split Frame. Well, let's get back to our talk with the guys from Rueban to hear more about how odd things can inspire music and about their new album, Stronger Than Ever. You also coined a perfect word, Godrenalin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you need to copyright that. Every Christian needs to have that word in their vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that title just came up with me at some point. I was watching an action movie or something, and I don't know whether it was a Vin Diesel movie or something where the term adrenaline kept being used. So I was trying to throw a name. I was trying to come up with a title, and that's when I just thought of this. Adrenaline, and that's how it came about. And it's still there. I mean, it's not just by fluke. I mean, if you read the lyrics, it just talks about pushing, basically. It's like coming out of your struggles, not just by showcasing yourself as being weak. You're using the power of God, and you're using your own willpower to face any sort of struggle with ease. That's basically the whole idea of Godrenalin, and that just it boils down to faith by the end of the day.
Rueban started as a solo project because your first release from Rueban was 2012 with Indestructible. Now with your new release, Stronger Than Ever, Rueban is a full band. Maybe Shawn and Ojo can tell us about how the band members came together. Okay, Ojo, do you want to start?
Yes, sure. So actually, here in Hyderabad, I was looking for bands to join. just to jam. And I was looking it up on Facebook, and I saw Ruben had posted a single on a particular page called Musicians at Hyderabad. So he said, I'm looking for guitarists who are interested in playing hardcore music, and particularly Christian hardcore music. So we got in touch. So we realized that maybe we don't have the same interest in the genre of music, but overall, basically we clicked, and that is how I am now in Ruben.
And Shawn also came through Facebook for you?
Yeah, right, exactly, Dave. So, what happened was I was already playing in, with my band, and all of a sudden I get a message from Ruben on Facebook. He just introduced himself, saying that, he's Ruben and, he composes music and all that. And then he also mentioned he was, signed up to In Presence Record and all that. He told me that he was looking out for musicians who would, fill in his band and, we would carry out from there. So he just called me, and that's how, we just started off. We met, and then, so like we are a complete perfect tight band as of now. So that's how it happened.
All three of you guys have talked about how you have different musical tastes. Probably one of the most interesting things about Ruben is how you blend different genres. But which style has the biggest influence in your music? Is it metal or is it punk?
It's metal more than punk because most of the hardcore bands I listen to are the crossover bands. They have played more of an influence. There's always the hardcore punk music that I listen to, but hardcore metal plays a bigger influence for me. So most of those bands like Agnostic Front, Madball, Earth Crisis, Snapcase are mostly hardcore metal than hardcore punk, and they were the straight edge. Some of them were straight edge bands that were crossed over into pretty much the thrash metal genre of music, and I'm more into them than the hardcore punk bands.
Having a spirit of honor. Anytime you show honor, you are sowing a seed. The honor you give away will always come back to you.
Giving all of my faith, there ain't no shame. Always a game with no one to blame. I would wanna live by, always up high. To walk the line, yeah, never to lie. I would wanna learn, just to make a turn that could change all wrong to right. Straight down the core, will you endure my strength with God? Yeah, I will survive. Run on my beat, release all of the struggles. Yeah, the strength of it all. Into the arms of the spirit that never flow to live for. My God will keep me alive. I'll never give in. To fight till my dying breath. Living by one rule that's always foolproof. Respect the truth, yeah, strength to pain. I would wanna live by, always up high. To walk the line, yeah, never to lie. Stepping up a level to reach my heaven. I'll be a rebel to find my God straight down the core. Will you endure my strength with God? Yeah, I will survive. Run on my beat. Release all of the struggles. Yeah, the strength of it all. Into the arms of the spirit that never flow to live for. My God will keep me alive. I'll never give in. To fight till my dying breath. Giving all of my faith, there ain't no shame. Always a game with no one to blame. Living by one rule that's always foolproof. Respect the truth, yeah, strength to pain. I would wanna learn, just to make a turn that could change all wrong to right. Straight down the core, will you endure my strength with God? Yeah, I will survive.
Well, let's get on to talking about the new album then, Stronger Than Ever. That just came out this March.
So, Stronger Than Ever, actually, how that kind of started off was that, I've been part of these Christian metal communities and musician communities on Facebook. And one common thing I had always observed, which was kind of the driving force of the album, was that a few people who would come on the community and, they would say that they're going through a lot of struggle in their life. I remember the last person I tried, saying something, putting a comment, which wasn't very, I would say, receptive. So there was a person who said that they, were going through a bad time. She was alcoholic, and that she needs people to pray for her to get out of this rut that she's in. She kind of opened up. I mean, that's fine. The idea of being a Christian is to, listen to people and try to understand and try to help them. So I gave a comment back saying that, it's all in your mind. You don't need other people to pray for you. God has given you an iron mind and strong will. You're born with that. You're never born weak. So I gave that advice saying that you can come out of it with ease. If you have a strong will and you have faith in God, then you can come out of it with ease. It's not going to be too difficult for you to, come out of being an alcoholic. So that kind of, didn't pan out well for me, leaving that comment over there, because, people were like thinking I was a bit too harsh, coming up with a comment like that. But the other people who were giving comments, I mean, I know that they were trying to look out for her. It was for, it was a good thing that they were doing. No one was like, saying things back at me, but it wasn't. Everyone was like, no, what he's saying is wrong. We will pray for you, kind of a thing. So that was kind of the driving force for me. Like, I was trying to understand basically what are the elements that people actually deem themselves as being weak, and that was the whole concept of the album. The opposite of weak is strength, and that's where I brought that element in the album, saying that, what are the key points that we can cover with strength. So again, using, the Bible as source material, I kind of figured out, okay, so we have, the key thing that Christ always talks about is love, and that's there as a song called Strength Through Love. And then there's honor, where it's mentioned several times in the Bible. I mean, the 10 Commandments itself has that captured. Then you have perseverance, that again boils down to, how much of a drive you have in yourself. And the element of that song is basically not to take into account all the negativity that actually people feed into you, but push past that, because you can do it. Basically, that's what perseverance is about. And of course, you have the song called Strength Through Faith, which captures faith again. You need faith in yourself. You need faith in God to actually take you out of any sort of troubles with ease. And, those were the four elements that I kind of captured in the whole album. And they were the essence of basically Stronger Than Ever. And then I do have a few songs like Strong Tower, which again is faith-oriented song. That's where you have to keep building on your faith. You can actually come out of any sort of problems that you might have.
Clouds and I'll
talks about false preachers, like televangelists. I don't know whether it will be taken in the right way if I say this, but there's kind of a seed of evil where they're kind of corrupting people. So I don't stand by that. I mean, it's purely with few people. I mean, I'm not saying all evangelists are the same. I don't have anything against evangelists. It's purely with a few people and that I've actually seen. But the song is not exactly negative. There is a passage from the Bible that's recited as a commentary in the end of the song, that says that it's like as if the Lord is telling me that, these prophets who come, false prophets, are prophesying lies in my name. So that's there as a commentary in the end of the song, and it just focuses on Jesus Christ being the actual true prophet, who came about spreading the good word, and there was a level of humility that you can use. If I watch a televangelist on TV, I wouldn't use that person as an example in my life. That's just purely focusing on greed, if you look at the holistic perspective of things. So that song it just kind of deviates from the concept of strength. But everything else, just boils down to, the four key essences of strength in the album.
This life is changing. What God had built from scratch is blowing out of control. Through the sham of the light that we create, the bond between truth and reality that's molded into one is what we have done and thrown away. That's why we fall. We can be certain that this new belief of the new prophets have been built on constant lies. God knows they've not been wrong. Shouldn't have to do. Still the light that shines to parasite on me. I can see a light with the soldier drained away. You're living in the dark. Oh God, you're covered in scars. This life is broken. You destroyed. Thou shalt lie. That's the Christian way. Lead the way. This life is changing. About to pull the fate. Follow as a whole. So come on now. Let's believe and sin away. That's why we fall. We can be certain that this new belief of the new prophets have been built on constant lies. No, they've not been wrong. Shouldn't have to do. Still the light that shines to parasite on me. I can see a light with the soldier drained away. You're living in the dark. Oh God, you're covered in scars.
I'll give you a miracle. Wanna be healed? I'll heal you. Soul, you're in need. Your soul life for the picking.
They've not been wrong. Shouldn't have to do. Still the light that shines to parasite on me. I can see a light with the soldier drained away. You're living in the dark. Oh God, you're covered in scars.
And the Lord said to me, the prophets are prophesying lies in my name. Not to send them, nor did I command them or speak to them. They're prophesying a lying vision, wordless divination, and the deceit of their own minds. And I believe in the word of the one true God, Jesus Christ.
Well, this is a question I often ask of really many artists who come on The Antidote. Is there one song from Rueban that you would say defines what you're all about?
Like for me, it's actually the song "Strength Through Faith" that actually is very hardcore oriented, and it's again faith centric. So that's the title track of the album basically. "Strength Through Faith" and "Strong Tower" are the songs that define the band pretty much. For me, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah, Shawn, what do you think?
Oh, the song "Strong Tower." I think that's one of my favorites, which Ruben has written, and that's my favorite one.
And Ojo, have you got a choice?
Yeah, but my choice would be entirely different. Right? I think it is the least metal song on the album. It's the last song, Skyward. I think when the song opens up and the lyrics are said, it's like always be yourself. I think that encapsulates at least what we are trying to do as a band. No one is trying to push one down, even though we have different ideas and different opinions. In the end, we come together because we all have a common love for music, even greater love for Christian music.
This is true. I'm catching this all the time, is that you guys never agree on anything.
Certainly do.
Yeah, the only time we agree is actually when we are jamming together, So we haven't had deep rooted conflicts during our jam sessions. It kind of we gel together there.
Okay, now all of the listeners of The Antidote have been hearing your music tonight, but how do they find the music of Rueban online?
So you can right now with Stronger Than Ever, it's actually being distributed on iTunes, Amazon MP3, Spotify worldwide, and for India, it's on a platform called OKListen.com. Indestructible is sold exclusively on Bandcamp. So those are the platforms. It's all pretty much digital copies that it's a digital release that we have being distributed of both the albums, Indestructible and Stronger Than Ever.
And do us one last favor and tell us how to spell Rueban, because it's not always spelled the same way.
Yeah, so it's actually spelled Rueban, and it's not exactly the way it's supposed to be spelled, but that's purely because of the fact that when I was born, there was kind of a goof up in my birth certificate. Not because of my parents. It's actually because of government officials that actually do the writing, and they kind of goofed it up from the very start. And it evolved through the years. On my birth certificate, it spelled something else, and then by the time it came to my passport, it became something else altogether. And my passport is basically Rueban, so I'm stuck with it, and I don't have a problem as long as people can pronounce it properly. I'm fine with it.
And as long as they can find your music online.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you for staying up late to speak with The Antidote. I've really appreciated you taking time for us.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. And it was, glad talking to you. And it was fun as well. This interview was really fun.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
We had a trio of songs from the new Rueban album, Stronger Than Ever, beginning with Strength Through Honor, then Strong Tower, and the song Scars. Rueban definitely has a lot to say in their music, so be sure to hunt them up online and get a download. Well, you're going to hear another song from Rueban before we finish The Antidote, but here's what's in store for next week. When we bring the music back to Canada, we're going to be joined by the talented, opinionated, and superb vocalist Leah McHenry. Her Celtic-influenced symphonic metal comes from Vancouver, but Leah's fan base is worldwide, and you'll realize why when you hear her awesome music. Okay, well, I promised one more song from Rueban, and since the band had different opinions as to which of their songs best defined their music, I decided to go with Ojo's choice, and this is one of my favorites. Enjoy Skyward, and The Antidote will be back again next week.
Always be yourself. Be understanding to your enemies. Be loyal to your friends. Be strong enough to face the world each day. Be weak enough to know you can't do everything alone. I'll rise, I'll hold. It's our fight. It's staying. but sorrow's love. I'll rise, I'll hold, yes I'll fight and stay alive. Yes I'll blow, yes I'll show that I'll fight and stay alive. Yeah, today life give you another slap. Don't give it up, bring it out in the ring. Things gone wrong, where's that sting? 'Cause there must be another way. See it's the light of the day. Everything seems sour, not in your favor. Look around, you find better flavor. So don't just give up, live it up. I'll rise, I'll hold, yes I'll fight and stay alive. Yes I'll blow, yes I'll show that I'll fight and stay
I will shine, our team staying alive.